Alright, what's up my friends? How's it going out there? How's it going out there today? Anyone who comes in to this live space or for the recording, how you going? How's it going? Welcome. Just kind of settling myself into the space here and make sure I'm ready for this right now. I feel a little bit not perfectly set for it, but here we are. Some old habits of myself to release, some blockages to release, as much as a lot of us. So that's one of the reasons we're here today. That is one of the main reasons we're here today. Do some energy clearings, do some blockage clearings, and help each other out. Just send some love through the field, right? To hold the space for each other, a feeling of clearing and becoming more of our truest and highest potential, highest selves. So that's why we're here today. That's one of the biggest reasons, amongst many other topics, to run along with that, right? So we'll be talking about and going through meditative clearing process, as well as talking about like health, vitality in our bodies, and taking responsibility for that, taking dear living whole responsibility for our bodies, for our health, for our beingness in every way, and the diligence and need for us to tune into our subtle energetics, the energies of our body, the organ systems, the meridian systems, the subtle flowing physical systems, with the subtle flowing physical systems through the meridians, through into the chakra systems, through into the energy body, into the auric body, into the various layers and levels dimensionally of our body, of our being, of and beyond, how that stretches and connects to reality beyond us. So that's some of the big focuses of topic today. Sorry about the word mixing up there. Gotta get my own chi and life force flowing for this right now. Yeah. So, one of the biggest things that we tend to overlook based on false programming and the distorted reality, distorted collective reality that we often are liberating and freeing ourselves from as we go deeper into heal and clear and become more of our individual sovereign beings as our divine nature, and really take hold, really take claim of that, and start to walk forward more in our lives. Our health and our vitality, our own body, and really tuning in to how to clear and purify and do all the right. Choose consciously what to carry ourselves to that supports us in greater healthful living, that supports those around us by the example of that, and supports our family based on the quantum connection, and then also beyond that into the collective whole family or body of humanity, just as us as a whole. To choose greater and higher ways that are of higher healthful supporting for us mentally or emotionally or consciously, energetically into our physical body, because everything starts with the energetic, starts with the subtleties of our being and the requirement for us to get deeper and diligent within these sacred, blessed bodies, these us as humans, and to be able to go deep enough into that to listen to the communications, listen to the signs, what our body is speaking to us, and the fact that our bodies never lie. They never lie about anything, any pains, any sensations, any tinglings, any pleasure, anything you feel it's not lying. If you feel into it, it's going to be telling you an integral truth of what something is going on to a various point within our bodies based on our meridians and these intersecting meridian points and these centers that connect these knotty points throughout our physical body, throughout our energetic body, into expanding beyond our physical into our lights body, energetic body, auric fields, and as well as those are channels to house in our spirit and our true soul source, living essence, and our sovereignty to remember, tap into, and know the infinite creativeness of our hearts and our souls, and what to be able to follow along to create the lives that we want, to do the things that we want. So these meridian points in our bodies intersecting, connecting different organs, connecting different muscles, connecting different bones, different tissues, all that. And our bodies are highly important to be aware of and to be working with consciously, more energetically, as well as going into the nervous system, because that's the first and foremost thing of us being human here in order to tap into our greater potential is tapping into our bodies, is tapping into our energetics, is tapping into, even more than that, is tapping into spirit and soul, because that is where it's like our central hub of like living sunlight, source force, source chi, spirit chi energy is. It's like this source consciousness and living intelligence of source flowing through us in our individuality as source. And to remember that along the way, to expand our consciousness, expand our awareness, bring that into our bodies and let it just show us the way as well, to bring all that through, to what we can do to support our bodies in greater healthfulness, to support all that to flow through. All those living life force, spirit, source energies to flow through us. So right now I'm kind of doing a little bit of that so I can have more energy and focus for this stream. Haven't been perfectly on it with my own practices, subtle energetic practices beyond the stream, so I'm gonna make sure I'm back in on that. Doing this right along with you guys every time. So, with that right there, and kind of explain a little bit what's going on. So what I was feeling into right there is just my body and where it can open up and release tension, where I can release stuckness, tightness. And that's one of the number one things for us to do is simply feel into the tightness and tensions in our body and release them, because that is what is where often we find a lot of stuck chi, life force, or stuck connections to spirit and our true soul source self, or at least rather the hindrance of the flow throughout the body, and actually anchoring into the physical to inform the physical, or help direct the physical to be in that higher healthfulness based down to the cellular matrix and each different points of the body, the organ systems, muscles, bones, the ligaments, tendons, all the different tissues, the different kind of locales and collectives of cells, and as they kind of communicate and work together as a whole, we want them to be interconnected and to this divine spark within us, this divine light, this divine living source, light, essence of creation, of God, of the universe, essentially, which we all are, which we all have naturally. But it is so important for us to really go in deep and kind of foster that spark, that connection in a greater, higher degree, like a higher level of devotion and dedication, commitment to just being who we most absolutely truly are, and being most, choosing to be most purified, most pure and clear, which is often my focus within energetic practices. And what I bring within clearings is to focus on purity, and like a feeling where there's not purity, or where there's not flow, rather where there's not flow, like waterways, like a stream, or like the wind, like the air flowing around us or something, or the mycelial networks and electric communications between plants through the soils and the soil itself, with the living essence and energy that it contains of all the microbial life forms, and the constant communications and electrics through the soil, through the earth herself. So the same with our bodies. Are there any hindrances to the electrical flow of the nervous system, of the cells' communications, of the individual organs' function and communication to each other about what it needs from this organ, that organ, to let the whole body flow in its fullness, while to help the body, help each organ be its completeness? And yeah, so the big thing is I focus on, like, I want things to be purely, clearly, like crystalline, like pure plasmic living water flow. Just And so then everything starts to show up in my awareness as I tune in. Maybe oftentimes it'll show up as like darkness. That can, of course, there can be positive senses of tightness too. Like if you're working out a lot, of course, and you're building muscle, there's positive senses of tightness too. That as you do that, your body's growing, you're building more cells, you're expanding the body, you're bringing more blood flow, more oxygen flow, more chi and life force that it has built and able to supply from those places, as well as what is required to help sustain that energy and yet flow to other places of like a lower energy or like a weaker point that needs that energy more. Or oftentimes, like if we work out, we'll be shown that we need to focus on those muscle groups, or else we actually need to bring more chi and life force, stimulating electrical flow, electromagnetic building to connect in with through the body, the physical, into the auric field as a more whole unit. Yeah, let's see about that one. Connecting into the auric body and as a whole unit and the whole body. Where's the places that need more energy? Yeah, are often the places where there might be holes, or there might be blockages, or there might be actually like holes within the energetic body, within the auric field, where chi and life force is leaking away. That is what actually supplies our life, our bodies with life, with our consciousness, with our clarity, is the amount of life force, the amount of basically looking at the sun. If you look at the sun or you look at the earth and you see how live and abundant they are, how much they're supplying, how much light there is, how much life there is around, or that is basically life force that Mother Earth has, or that the sun has, supplying that for the earth and everything else around. Not to mention that it being a portal, interdimensional time-space portal, essentially, just the same as we have inside of us through our hearts, through our chakra systems, through different points in the centers of our body, at the organs, within the organs, within the different places of our body, accessing different layers and levels dimensionally of consciousness and awareness within all of creation beyond us, and how our energies play into our reality creation and beyond us, into the collective reality creation via the thoughts and the feelings of what we're choosing to bring in, is what is being shown to us as we go deeper and look into these places. So when I'm thinking of like purifying energies, it will show me those dense places, those darknesses, those blockages, these shadow places where it's like, okay, there's less life force there, there's less energy or consciousness, or maybe there's my own inner child still stuck there that often comes to surface playing in my actions. I must become present with, to nurture and love and help take care of, to include with the whole. So it's not that we're trying to bash or push through anything and disregard any feelings in the body, or disregard our own inner children and other many aspects of consciousness. That's not what we do here. No, sorry, that ain't what we do. We here try to guide each other in that, and hold space here that I do, and bring us through energetic clearings by allowing through for all of us, and the healings to come through, as well as for you in your own self to be able to choose to be doing that, as those just inspires and encourages you to be doing that, with this energy being added in support and in guidance to add on top of what you'd be opening to receive, or opening to do and dive into yourself, but by opening to receive what then I give through not just me, but my own like spirit guides and my own greater higher spirit self that comes in through this space into my body for us, for to bring through these healings, for to bring through these clearings, expanding to anyone who's ever present. So we don't disregard anything. We see it and we begin facing with love. And yes, pretty redundantly do I talk about the same things in like every stream, different layers and levels. Things grow and I gain more intel and data. I learn more, as I go along in my journey. And most of the time, a lot of what I learn honestly comes through these streams, or doing open, public, connecting with others, service in some way, in groups or individual. And yes, with myself individually, but I found it easier for me to just like do the thing with people, and that's how I discover and I help them at the same time. But there's the diligence of responsibility that we all have within our own individual spaces to lead ourselves in greater, higher, smarter, intelligent ways. Greater, higher, smarter, just ways of being that absolutely support our expansion and support that greater embodiment, that real, living, higher spirit self-embodiment. There's a lot of different ways we can take the angling and focus on different facets and different layers and levels of what higher self embodiment mean or true self embodiment means. What I often am focusing on with that is just your truest, your spirit, like basically beyond the physical body, like you're truly, completely like enmeshed, unified in a sacred agreement or relationship with your body to incarnate, basically to literally incarnate your actual soul, spirit self more fully into your body. And from there, do all the visions and all the feelings of the miracles of creations that we have to bring for this world that not only liberates us and brings us happiness and joy and love and peace and greater levels of sovereignty and freedom and direction of our own energies and consciousness, but helps others do the same in whatever it is we're doing, because there's so many of us doing so many different things that are beautiful, artful creations, or in leadership and leading people and helping to heal in whatever way, or your own personal space cultivations, and then how you bring those energetics into your body, and you're showing up then with that cultivation, you're showing up with that energy and repping that, like basically representing your own individual like dedication and commitment to mastery of yourself on every level of our humanness and soul and spiritness as an embodiment. So that's one of the major other things I teach and bring through here for us, which it's pretty darn evident if anyone watches and tunes into these, hangs out and feels the energy, but it's good to also speak about this in the service for others. Yeah. So the number one thing, that is literally all of this that we're talking about, I feel is my part to play, as well as so much more that I touch on to and bring together as a whole scope for the collective. The number one thing is to focus on our own healthfulness and vitality, our own spirit and truest highest self-embodiment, and how that intermingles and flows. Keep bringing chi and life force through our breath, through our movements, through every thought, through every feeling in our bodies to enliven us and fill us with life, with actual just life, energy of creation, which we all have so dearly and deeply, so powerfully, so diligently to connect into and let flow through our bodies, utilize and activate through all of our being. Oh, hello, welcome my friend. Whoever is here, glad to have you. Yeah, so that is just the number one things for us to focus on constantly, because like it doesn't matter what is going on externally, it doesn't matter what is happening around you, your own focus to bring more life force, bring more spirit into your body, bring more of your truest self and authentic real self being, your authentic real self expression, and not holding that back and not letting anything externally sway you away from that is the number one thing we gotta do, right? That is what we here to do. I tell you, my friends, I tell you what. Yeah. Because it's very true that it's crazy, like just to speak about some of the ways of the collective in the world and how it's been for a long time, and so many different things going on, different people, different groups, different human and non-human, physical and non-physical, doing a whole lot of things around the planet for a long time. And when we get beyond us and as our humanness, just seeing, yeah, still the way humans and or other humanoid type beings have come together and done crazy things around the planet has been geared around basically like a life force genocide. Like it's literally just like, it's kind of a really weird big statement, and what it means is like we've been programmed and focused to not look at anything non-physical, like basically just, or not look at our own healthfulness and all the thoughts and the feelings and all of the actions that we choose to do as if it has effect on us, when obviously it does if you take one little 5-second look at your body or something and your mind, your mental state, then you'll be like, oh yeah, the things that I'm doing, this trails back to that path. Well, okay, maybe it's not that easy for everybody or whatever, but we'll be able to trail back and trace back to our choices and the things that we're doing, and how that's affecting our state of being, how that's affecting our health, how that's affecting our living reality and where we find ourselves physically. perhaps, and how much we can fill ourselves with more life force to energize towards greater actions internally first, and as well as to external to begin to shift things and lead us to a greater direction in our lives. It's been basically for a long, I don't even know how long you could really say, for thousands of years yet. And yet there's been so many various pockets of the collective where it seems like we're being programmed and fed all this false information of how to take care of ourselves and how to take care of each other and how to connect with the world and what's real and what's not real. And as well as for those who have been really diligently maintaining, doing that work and maintaining it for the collective, that remembrance of our sacred interconnectedness with all things, with nature and with life, and the consciousness of all different beings beyond human as well as ourselves, and a greater healthful awareness. And us as humans, we have the responsibility and the capabilities, rather, the capabilities, and in that awareness becoming the response ability to become aware of all the subtle energetics and the body systems within us to take care of ourselves to the highest degree. And then at the same time, we can from there more easily be able to perceive that in others, whether it be human or animal or plant. You can see they have their own integral body systems, their energy systems, their meridians as well, and things like that just play into their physical makeup and energetic makeup that houses their souls and houses their consciousness and allows it to flow and connect in through these tendrils to these different energetic center points of intersections of where they communicate and connect within the multidimensional bodies, and allows us to be as we are in this world and then play as we are in this world, like literally play, create, lead, and be. So there's been basically, you could say, like a life force genocide, or just the whether there be plans or not plans. Okay, plans and or focuses to, okay, literally that's true, to take people's power away from them inside, to look externally away from, to look externally for anything and everything of their needs. Yeah, we have some us have influence on the external, and the external has influence on us, but 100% comes down to your own resolve, your own healthfulness, vitality, state of being that we choose to really dig deep inside of us to take charge of, take leadership, take a positive essence of control within our lives, to direct things to be in a greater fortified, unified way where you could almost, so things start to become more crystallized, like crystalline, or like whole, pure, unified, as you would see like crystals of various stones being, or like a tree even being itself most of the time. And depending on the place of land or the place within the grid systems of the earth and how everything else is affecting, you'll see trees and that, like this stronger, greater healthfulness and vitality that allows them to live for so many hundreds or thousands of years, and be doing the work that they're doing, just be alive, feeling, connecting, communicating with everything. We must remember that that is so highly important to focus on within ourselves, to being in that way, to being like a tree, to being like a crystal, like a stone, to being like the water, how it's just ever present, always, never has not been really, and how it's inside of each one of our bodies in various different forms, including just our blood, but in various different liquid type forms, as our bodies are largely made up of water, of course, and how that connects with everything else externally to the like infinite interconnected etherical energetic plasmic water-like fields of energy that connect into anything, everything, and then into their physical counterparts and reflection that systems within the earth of all the plants and the trees and the mycelial networks within the mushrooms and the fungal families, as connecting to the roots of all the different plants, as well as into the minerals and the elements, within the earth herself, and then out into the air, as the air is a very subtle, perfect reflection or representation of subtle energetics. The air itself is a very perfect reflection of that. It carries still information, it carries still electrics. Obviously, when we see lightning everywhere, we feel static electricity in the air. There's information and energetics, there's consciousness that is exchanged through that and through that physical medium. And just purely beyond that, into the energetics of the air, of the electrics, the electricity, the lightning, or the clouds, and how that percolates through those water particles and connection to the trees, connection to the plants, connection to us through the air that we breathe, and have connection to our inner trees as our bronchial, into the bronchial tubes, the alveoli, whatever, I don't know, the different parts of the lungs. Yeah, that it looks like a tree inside your body. It's to take in the air to feed your body with that information, those energetics, and then to support the blood to be in its highest optimal form, as well as just cleansing the blood as the lungs do within our breath. And our heart itself is literally just cleansing the blood. The heart itself is literally like it's constantly pumping because it's cleansing blood. So that comes down to like self-leadership and what we're focused on bringing into our body food-wise and or energetic consciousness-wise, like what we choose to think and feel, and then how we connect with the world, externally, anyone and anything, and how that influences us first and foremost just purely energetically into electromagnetically into our bodies. Excuse me. Getting some clearings going as we're talking about this stuff. That's how that rolls. But yeah, the heart itself is basically just cleansing the blood as much as it's obviously pumping it, because in life and in reality, in nature, there is flow, there's constant movement, there's constant clearing, there's constant regeneration, constant restoration, and constant growth and expansion. So the heart is there to pump the blood, to move those energies physically, and move any nutrients through the body, yes, to move any energetics through the body as well, to move any magnetizing elements within our body like the irons and otherwise that gives us these connection points within our electrons to create the electromagnetism back and forth, the flow, the electrics, and then the magnetism, the giving and the pulling and the giving, or the pulling in and the giving out, expansion of energies into our auric fields as well, as the heart is largely the center of, physically as well as energetically. But it also cleanses blood with the action of breathing and with the action of the heart pumping, because like if you were able to really more purify your energetics, purify your body, go on longer experiences of fastings, you'll notice how your heart does not have to work as hard. It can slow down much so and become much more gentle and even beat less, and still receive a lot of the same results, because we're not putting things constantly into our body then, and we're allowing the heart to rest and allowing the body to cleanse out, and for our own consciousness to become more clear and pure and purely anchored in our body. Not saying that we all have to do that, but it is something that greatly does help the body to alleviate excess stress or excess operation, well, just so that it can operate more clearly and allow other aspects of your consciousness, other aspects of energetics to flow, and it's in the way that it really wants to, in the way that to support like just a whole rounding and full spectrum of our bodies and our beingness. It is necessary, I would say, to do some fastings here and there, and sometimes longer if you want to, as well as 100%. It all just comes down to your choices internally and what you're willing to open up to embody and be. So what I often talk about is, before doing anything or becoming anything, it's all the choice of being that thing, of becoming that thing, and letting the energetics fully enter you through your own soul, through your own spirit, through your own ancestral lineage, Jing, or the life force, basically Qi, carried through your lineage of ancestry, coming through, which largely connects into like our kidneys as well as our own life force. And I believe, what else? I have to verse myself more in the body system, energetic systems to the organs. Yeah, coming through the kidneys, coming through, I feel like the bladder and the spleen, if that's right. Anyway, yes, we also carry through many past ways of our own family and ancestry and how they've chosen to be, and how that carries down lineages, whether it's good or bad, really, you could say, whether it's for the highest good and expansion of the lineage or not. And if it's not, then that's up to the next person's responsibility to take care of that, to clear it, to change the ways, and foster greater qualities of being as a human within that lineage. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I'm the same, my friend. What you got? What you got to share? What you got to give? Or just anything? What you want? Mm. My dearest brothers. It's another beautiful thing that so funny. The way this world has been driven with the life force genocide to program people not to be cultivating their internals and their life force and chi flow, and focusing on greater mastery and awareness of their being as a whole totality and complete and total unified divine love. It's funny. Oftentimes we have to look to other beings in nature of all kinds that can teach us infinitely so much of how to be human, of how to be animals, mammals that we are, literally, as these bodies. We're mammals still, we're animals. Just a different kind. So oftentimes animals are just so purely alive in the present moment. In whatever way that may be in their given environments. Like if you have animals living with you or plants living with you, they do tend to start taking on more human-like qualities, as well as their own, and they begin to like alchemize or alchemate those together masterfully and show us more how to be better versions of ourselves in various aspects of how they accept different qualities of the people around them within their own systems and bodies. And yeah, it comes down to like whatever animals or plants we be with, that we're soul aligned to be with each other. Usually, most often, like there's that actual sacred connection, or at least there's meant to be. An intuitive just knowing that you guys are meant to be together as souls and as guides and as teachers. So for one, cats have been some of the greatest blessings and greatest teachers in my life, 100%. And a lot of different animals actually, but cats bigly the last several years. The pure beauty and essence that they choose to just be who they are, unperturbed and unfearing, is exactly a teacher for us to be. Because it's in this world that we're this false distortion reality has driven us to forget the corest essence of us, but at the same time, through all the hardships, through all the wild false programmings and false information, false teachings of how to be human, of how history has been in various different ways, different times, different things been going on, and to really dig deep and find the truth of all that and be able to learn and feel how to discern truth from our heart. A lot of us have forgotten and yet are remembering, and yet everything and all the opposition is guiding us even more of how to become more of our truer selves and our most authentic selves, and really listen into our souls and our spirits and follow that unendingly, undyingly, fully with the highest faith and trust that everything is well, because we must follow more of who we are, like the animals around us. Just be that without hindrance. Maybe not all homes, family spaces foster that for each other or foster that for the animals, but I know I've definitely done some of the greatest I can to foster safety and clarity for the animals with me, for the family with me, to just be who they are, but yet also support their growth and expansion, healing and clearing in whatever way. But it comes down to just us and our dedication to, yeah, who are you? What do you choose to be, and what do you know to be inside of your heart? And every level of greater self-care, self-care, self-love, self-support, and the greater healthful vitality and well-rounded full spectrum totality of health, good, whole, flowing body being like the earth is, and like the earth's constantly moving and shaping and shifting with the weather, whether it be natural or man-made, and manipulated in whatever way. She'll correct it. She'll correct it naturally. There is a natural essence. Perhaps it's a very side quest thing to focus on for a second, but there is a natural essence of which we can do weather manipulation. Saying from before, so perfect. We really do individually, and yet as groups have the capabilities of connecting in with the elements of the planet, of the weather systems, of the atmosphere, and directing and asking with spirit how we can direct together as a whole unit with all of our guides and guardians, with all of our ancestors, with all of our whole being, our soul and spirit, to work with the weather to be in change a certain way for certain times, certain spaces, to support things we might be doing, support nature around us, to support everything, not outside of a flow, but just so we can change it and maybe avert or transform things for a time being. We do have the power to do anything as great, powerful creators, sovereign, living human beings that are absolute creators from the core of our souls, in every way, into our bodies, in all these different layers and levels, unified as a whole, if we really just allow ourselves to be open, unperturbed, and unshaken from being a whole, being a unit. Yeah. Then we can accomplish incredible, what we would perceive as miracles, but merely are natural aspects to our body and being, actually. And it's something for us to sacredly remember, and to have that sacred, beloved, remembered communion with nature, with Mother Earth, with the universe, with stars and planets and galaxies, with the sun, with our bodies, with each other, to support and create their healthful, flowing vitality as a beyond us. This is such a big thing coming through right now. This is such a big thing. Like, it's not just about us but that we can expand our human potential of consciousness and psychic abilities, psionics, and heart-filled, soul-felt energies with spirit to fully connect in and support the same healthfulness in everything, and or specific conditions, like I said in the case of like weather manipulation, you could say in a positive sense of just honoring all of life and honoring the weather to shift and be a certain way for specific time spaces or things, events or gatherings, or for crops and farming. We can commune with the spirits of nature, the spirits of the elements, the consciousness and spirit of the elements of Mother Earth, of these different various sectors of her collective field and consciousness, of her grid systems, of her atmosphere, and the differences of different energies and spirits and consciousnesses that play. We can commune with them and ask them to be in a certain way and move for us. This is something I've heard of so many people doing, something I've done myself, either with people or alone, and it is thoroughly real. It's just for us to remember and absolutely divinely honor our own innate natural intelligence and power via just love and openness and full just surrender to allow everything to flow in the greatest way via intentions, yes, so that you can see this as magic work, you can see this as divine living magic work, in which magic is just the energetic essence of all creation. It's just the shared field of everything, and be able to work with that and work with the intricacies and the complexities of different parts and things to move and to swirl and change the energetics and transmute them, transform them in different forms, change environments, so like the weather manipulation or otherwise. There's so much to that. Magic, that's a good one to get into in a later stream, even more actually. Especially because that tends to be that's increasingly becoming a huge thing in the collective in so many different ways right now, this past several months. And just more and more these years. We're all wizards, we're all witches, we all have those aspects, and however we choose to be those or not, whether more divine and whole or the opposite direction. I would, it's all can be done, but I would suggest something that does support everything in greater healthfulness. And awareness that way. So, yeah. We just need to go in and have more trust in our feelings, trust in our bodies, trust in the energies, trust in our bodies. For our bodies never lie, for everything they say and everything we feel is real. Everything we feel and everything we see is real to a degree, or can be, or is. And to trust with that and be able to move and take action responsibly via what we feel in the body, what we receive image-wise, or sensorily-wise. Via the many senses we have multidimensionally that this world has tried to have us, you could say, try to have us forget. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. For I see the great atrocities and the ways of the world are actually, they are great atrocities, they are horrible, and they should not be done. There's no reason that they need to be done. There really actually isn't whatsoever. The ways that things have been driven by various different factions, agreements, cliques, groups, people, beings in the world, and how that's been manipulating on the collective, various different aspects of larger groups, and or not too many crazy amount of them that there really are. Some of the elite people, elite beings, elite people you could say in the world, they're basically just using magic, actually, just using magic in a way that's very self-serving and manipulating humanity to increasingly just serve an agenda that helps them and play their game of life, which all of us can do with our interconnection of it. With our awareness of subtle energies and magic, we can all connect in with life and reality and get things to move in a higher way that's connected with our greatest love and greatest desire is what I would encourage us to focus on, our greatest love, greatest desire, greatest peace and happiness and joy for all as for one as for all. But there's a lot of different elite beings in the world that haven't done that, and they've used magic in a negative way. That's, you could say, negative because it's, yes, just blatantly manipulated and distorted people from remembering their own innate power and sovereignty, and creating these false or distorted reality mechanisms, systems. I'm gonna look for a different word than systems. Mechanisms, constructs. But all of it, nonetheless, 100%, I feel is also I feel like that's maybe a part of their agenda, but at the same time, I feel like it's, yeah, there's so many different people and beings that have been doing these types of things across the planet for thousands and thousands of years. Part of the agenda, I think, is to help humanity advance to a certain degree to a higher level, but also then to utilize us at those higher levels just as much as they have been now. from us and just utilize the energies of which we'd be at as a greater collective whole at those times. But the point is, like, everything external that is challenging to that brings challenges to the internal is just there to foster us to become greater versions of ourselves, is to recognize our true power 100%. Like, it's that we can, the point is we can utilize it that way. We can reorient the consciousness or energetics or intentions of beings and people that may not have our best interests in mind or entirely have been causing genocide and world destruction and mass horrifically nightmarish scale for a long time. We can take and see what they're doing, and or like the things that they try to do that might be done through the various ways of the world right now, and reorient and use as a tool to actually access more of our own greater power and bring that out, embody it, and be it, bring it and anchor it into our bodies, like fully anchor it into the bodies and be that, or be more of whatever that would help us to discover in our greater power of being. And then we can use it to create our own reality, like I said, that's in alignment with everyone and everything as it is for us in the highest love. And more and more can we foster a world of expanded, full soul incarnated, full spirit incarnated beings, humans across the planet, living in such reverence and joy and peace and divine love, oh my gosh, and honor as things used to be in so many different ages in the past, and so many different tribes of people that still exist now, that have existed in the past. Really being in a greater reverent honor and joy and peace and love with nature in all these different ways I've been talking about, and utilizing psychicness, psionic senses, body senses, energetics, fully, and then creating technologies externally perfectly mirroring those to use as tools to interact sometimes here and there as would be needed with nature, and create more of what we want to be creating for us and our advancement and growth and unification as a whole family and collective, as much as in alignment with nature, like we see with a lot of the ancient structures, ancient cities all around the planet, on land, underwater, under ice, and all these different continents, Antarctica, and under there, and under the oceans and lakes, even on land, all these ancient structures, some of them so far ancient that they might be hidden or by nature itself or imperceptible sometimes, with ancient knowledge and wisdom and teachings that we can access via those if we are ready to access them, and can connect in energetically and consciously to receive what it is these ancient structures would have, and or to reveal them physically if they may be shrouded a bit. But then nonetheless, they were structures that were built by past civilizations that have withstood time so long because they were actually built with everything in mind. Not all the time, but a lot of the times, and maybe not to the fullest degree, but to a much, 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 much greater and higher degree than anything now that we have massively. And so with supporting the healthfulness of everything, or at the same time, not all the time is that the case. Sometimes these ancient structures have been built to utilize magic and consciousness to actually distort reality, to actually block off the collective and distort and manipulate the collective against what they can truly be in a freer sovereign state as a whole. To actually harness energies of consciousness and life force from people based on manipulating the energetics of Earth, focusing to create those things to manipulate the energetic bodies and structures of humans, to block off or create gates and blockages, bars and gates and blockages from really accessing more of our innate power. So that is for something that so many of us on the planet are doing now, is freeing us from all these things. Comes into a lot of like very specific energetic implantations within the collective humanity's body, which then would just come down to affecting the individual just the same, because all of us, we share a whole energetic body beyond us as a one whole unit. And if you put implantations or put in certain spells or whatever, incantations, things like that, that'll create these specific blockages or shift or transmute energy to flow a different way that's maybe not in their most correct vibrational spin or match to like what we're meant to in our capabilities or what we're meant to in greater healthfulness, then it'll affect everything to not be within those certain places of our body. Whew. Okay, started tapping into something there. Got some energy flowing in my wrist, and Need to get to move and shut up a sharp pain for a second. Hmm. So that being said, we are here to actually dissolve away now so many of us as light workers, or people just becoming more aware of their multidimensionality and subtle energetics of everything naturally, normally, has always been, and uncovering that wisdom and knowing and knowledge within our own genetics and DNA into our own DNA itself, and the different codes and the different frequencies we're able to access dimensionally via our organic readiness of activation of those aspects of our DNA that a lot of us have within us, that are able to access these things more maybe easily, you could say, or more source consciousness easily right away. We're currently like removing a lot of these blockages and these energetic holds on the collective body of humanity, as well as the earth grids and earth energetic body herself beyond us, but that is intimately interconnected just the same. Those are kind of like the same thing, the collective humanity body and the earth body energetics, but not. They're different facets of kind of the same, but they intermingle and they interconnect and play intimately with each other, as everything does. And there's been a lot of those blockages put on her too, which has then affected our collective humanity's consciousness and other life, which a lot of us are removing now, which is what the terms like grid work are what they're called, what that is, if you've ever heard of any of that, and if you do it yourself or know anyone that does. Grid work is just removing those blockages, bringing in new systems, healing, clearing, purifying things within the energetic body of the earth, of humanity, as to within ourselves individually, that we would then allow to expand out to the collective, to those bigger points within the whole body, within the grids, to help everyone also begin to easily more liberate themselves from and clear from. Okay, let's see here. So as I'm talking about this, I'm getting a lot coming up, as exactly these blockages in my wrists. I feel on my shoulders, left shoulder to right shoulder slightly, in center, top shoulder, like neck area. Right wrist. So some blockages, probably some seals of energy to release. Sigils or seals or holdings of specific energetics that are like inverting the spin from organic, living, whole, original creation of the human, of life itself, and organic living creation to clear. There's quite a bit of grid working and healing going on through the transmissions, which is always a thing, actually, but going on now. So I'm calling, commanding, feeling into what these are first. And then we can call in commands, expand throughout me and for anyone in the field to help with your own blockages, what you may be feeling. But if this is coming up in me, this is meant, and then this may be coming up. I've been having this mouth thing lately. Less life force energy in my mouth. Through. These energies will also be coming up in those connecting in with this stream, and or just the collective at this time in general, that I'm thankful to be tasked to take a look at and help in any way. And that we are here to all do the same. I feel like it does have to do with seals on the body. There are these what are called J seals. They're usually found within the left side of the body, but I'm feeling connections within the right as well, in that wrist point, to to the shoulder, still going to the left though primarily. Other types of seals or sigils or magics to clear. Sometimes it's ancestral creations, sometimes it's our own creations, sometimes it's from the elite beings type creations, things put on the collective. So that is what we must become aware of. So I'm commanding for a revealing to show what these are with Spirit and with God. Asking for a revealing. Requesting. So in this space, feel bigly, it's just to support the energetic flow and releasing and opening of blockages first. And we'll get deeper from there. So with me, allow yourself to be comfortable. Do some deep breathing with me into that lower belly. Allow yourself to become more and more subtle upon each breath. Complete dedication and openness to, if you feel, if this is in alignment for you, to just wanting to be more connected in with your subtle energetics, with your body, with your soul source, and with your spirit and highest self, to bring in from that soul star and from your heart to enliven throughout all the other energy centers and throughout all the meridian systems to flow through, clear this spirit down to the lower dantians or lower chakra systems to really enliven that life force chi energy within the organs associated, the kidneys, the intestines, the bladder, the sexual organs. Really enliven with that life force energy to flow throughout the body, combining with spirit and the soul source essence to flow so very clear. Allowing yourself to feel into the subtle sensations, which can look like just following the electromagnetic tingling or wave feeling kind of energy we feel through our bodies often. Chill kind of feelings upon great emotions that can be excited and activated at will at any point within focus, within desire and wanting to open and get energy to flow. We can literally just activate it at will, which really comes through our heart, which is the great electromagnetic center. Feeling in and then feeling the different, or feeling into different points of the body, like the chi and life force of the lower organs and the lower dantian chi life force generating chakras, the root and the sacral, the feet, the North Star, we can just excite those energies by focusing there and just remembering that sensation of that tingling, that life force tingling, electromagnetic tingling energy that we feel with those great emotions, to just do that and begin breathing and flowing that, or expanding that in the body. It's quite as simple as that. We follow that more, be able to understand subtle energetics, and how to work with the body and the chi in different levels. Everybody at your own pace, in your own time. You'll feel even more subtle, different tinglings in your body, maybe in your hands, pulsations, your heart and your shoulders, your abdomen. We can focus that energy to flow anywhere in the body. This practice will just bring us more subtle and awareness to this living now moment and presence. We may feel a rising of energy that comes from that lower belly area, up our spines, that Kundalini life force chi energy to flow up to our hearts and up through our neck, through into our heads, our brains, our pineal glands, our crown chakras. Cyclically back around, all the way down to our feet, through our legs. So I feel like what those feelings I was feeling is partly related to just doing this. Deeper and deeper with more devotion and more love, more openness. Get the energies flowing, to slow down, take breaths, get chi, life force, get the electromagnetics moving, get the organs flourishing and nourished, support. Get the brain and nervous system flourishing with nourishing support, with greater relaxation of our muscles, tension. Allowing of the safety, the infinite living safety, to allow of us being here, being present, being now. There's so much living, pure safety in that. Just making the choice inside of us to be that safety, to be that, oh, okay, it's time, we're here, my body wants to release some things, some traumas, wants to release some stuck energies, wants to release some traumas. Which begins the down-regulation process of our nervous system. Just tune into that for a second, the nervous system. Upon your deep breathing, intentionally to bring that life force flowing, releasing the tension of your body. Slow down and choose from your heart just pure, divine, loving, peaceful, pure, peaceful, patient, wise, clear, settled in the present moment presence of safety. Beginning the down regulation, or the regulatory stasis, relaxing of the nervous system, to step out of the duality of fight or flight, to dissolve that away and to simply absolutely be so relaxed and open, who you most truly are now. And all these energies I'm sharing with the collective through me, Spirit, God, higher self. Support all of you in feeling into this yourself. relaxing the body's tensions, scanning from the top down, deep breathing to excite any of that electromagnetic feeling, tingling feeling, energetic flow, which will allow you to grasp into deeper, subtle energetics, even more subtle senses that become present in tinglings. And these seemingly, maybe you were aware of these, maybe you weren't aware of these before, maybe this is new. If you're able to get deeper into subtle energetics, feel like that visceral manipulation or focus of psychic energy to excite and breathe and bring that through the body. You'll get the subtle sensations that begins to feel very light, as it encourages you naturally, actually very naturally, innately, intelligently with the body, just to release any of those tensions and tightnesses. Tuning in the subtle energetics will just simply encourage that. It is a must. It is a guarantee and a need. Unless we are focusing to very viscerally manipulate, and sometimes tightening and tension comes in and then relaxing. But ultimately, it leads to a down regulation of that nervous system,